Is Detroit moving forward?
Are things in the long run getting better? Yes, they are. Everybody's taking a second look at the city and saying, it's not quite so scary, not quite so bad, maybe even kind of interesting.
We are on our way back. That is 100% certain. It takes a while, for people to see when the tide has turned. If you're on the seashore, it's coming in and you're not sure if it's started to go out. But the tide has turned in Detroit. It's just that everybody doesn't see it yet.
Yeah.
The only thing that can stop us is us. We've just got to have a different attitude about life. If we change that attitude about life, we will be the best. And I think that will begin to draw people to our city. And boy, we prosperous again.
People keep seeing difficulty, but then they see the opportunity underneath it.
We've got the lowest real estate prices in the Western world.
Even though, we've got falling prices and everything else, but I look at my neighborhood, we've had a ton of foreclosures, all these problems, but then we've sold a ton of houses on my street because they're cheap now, so people see an opportunity. Lofts are selling, condos are selling, not as well as they were a couple years ago, but it's a lot of people I know have even said they want to move into some of the new developments going on.
This was a deserted area, and here's the thing, 50 years ago, this was the commercial heart of not just Detroit, but America. There were something like 50 companies in this 12-block area, all of them household names. Then what happened, for various reasons, the area went into decline. And what was left were these great buildings.
There's just this general push towards urbanization. You kind of get ups and downs that it used to be everybody was trying to move out to the suburbs. That was what was cool. And now all of a sudden, I think in general in this country, urban lifestyle, urban everything has become just much more important, much more interesting.
I think one of the things that's really exciting is what's happening on Detroit's riverfront. I think there's development in that area that we hadn't seen for quite a while. I think the races are beginning to look at each other differently. They're not quite as stuck. They've got relationships that are broader and bigger, and they see other things. I think travel helps. And people have different visions than we had, and we need that. And I think that kind of makes a city like Detroit come alive.
It's only in great urban areas that you can have great theatre, sustain great theatre, great music, great art. You can't have the Detroit Institute of Arts out in a playing field. We want the arts to be part of the redevelopment of here as well as the whole of Detroit.
A new thought process, and I think it's being driven because people are coming to a realization that we really can't operate as a piece of the auto industry. And I think we're beginning to see that we've got to do more than that in order to be a prosperous drive.
When I came to Detroit 10 years ago, it was to set up a new business. And I actually chose Detroit, never been here before, because of two things. One, the low cost of living, but also what is often overlooked is that Wayne State is a community of folks with enormous expertise, worldwide expertise. We certainly are driving Detroit in a new direction, taking new technology to grow new businesses and create new jobs.
There's a new thought process, and I think it's being driven because people are coming to a realization that we really can't operate as a piece of the auto industry. For so long, young people in Detroit would drop out because they knew they could go on the assembly line and earn a really, really great wage without finishing an education. And people are still thinking you can drop out and go where? Well, you can't go anywhere, right? So now all of a sudden we're catching it.
In the 20th century, industries grew up around cities and towns, and because the change happened relatively slowly, communities could rely on those industries. But technology is changing rapidly now. Things that happened in a lifetime in the last century are now happening in a decade or less. Detroit's going to be one of the first cities, in my view, that is going to grasp the nettle of being competitive internationally.
Get light rail going, it gets people excited about coming to the city, it gets different building patterns to change, and it also helps everybody else, regardless of income and status, be able to get to a job, be able to get where they need to go. So it's building something, and the whole world takes notice of that. You can see it. It's something you can't touch it. You're part of, and it's something everybody has access to and literally can make everybody's day better.
So I see a truly diversified Detroit that is also a fun place to live in, because that's the next trick we got to pull off.
If we had headlines that said Detroit's crime dropping 20% every year, I think most other things would fall into place.
In 2004, Techtown was opened, and there's been an enormous amount of development. It's been really exciting to see. And mark my words, in a few years' time, you'll be able to see Techtown in the middle of the night. And the reason is because the lights will be on 24 hours a day.
There's all kinds of just little things going on. As soon as you scratch the surface, you meet interesting people, they're interesting institutions. It's really exciting.
So in summary, I think Detroit has got a lot going for it. It isn't going to happen overnight, but it is already happening. We're on our way, and anybody who doubts it should come back in 5 years' time, and I think they're going to be quite surprised to see.